I was really excited to buy this webcam that mounts in the center of my monitor until I read the reviews. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. This says center cam because it is a center camera. It's a webcam that actually drops down your monitor and actually sits right in the middle. And it's good for letting you interact on a Zoom call, a web conference, a webinar, recording videos, whatever it might be, and helping yourself look right at the camera because you can put the person, theoretically, that you're looking at right behind the camera and look right at them. Look right into their eyes, deep into their soul. So I was actually really excited about this because this was on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, something like that. And I paid for this, and of course, just like every other Kickstarter, it is way behind schedule. I expected this last year, and it finally just came. First of all, it does come with a USB-A to USB-C adapter right there, which I won't particularly need. But here is the camera itself. Now, one of the reasons that I'm excited about this is because this is actually everything you need for this little project. It's the camera, it's the mount, it's the arm, and it's very, very small, as you can see here. But one of the things that I'm worried about is that people have been putting in their comments that they are not really thrilled with the build quality or the quality of the camera. So we are going to look at both of those very, very closely. So first of all, there is a wire that comes off of this arm, and this is kind of like a mouse cable and a USB-A plug right there. So it should plug into most computers. I would call this about 4 feet long right here, okay? So then it goes to this part right here, and this is like a gooseneck. Kind of reminds me of like a desk lamp gooseneck. You know, it's metal, black metal right there. It's probably about 12, 13 inches long. And then on the end right here is the camera itself. So what we get is a very, very small camera, and you might be able to see there a little tiny lens. Does not look like I can adjust this, so it does not focus down here. So I'm assuming here it just generally keeps everything in focus, and any adjustments that you're going to need to make, you're going to have to do in software. But I do like the fact that it comes with this little lens cap. That way, you know, no one's peeping on you. And first of all, the little housing here is plastic. That actually looks pretty good. I mean, there's nothing about this that jumps out at me and says, hey, low quality, poor production standards. I mean, it looks fine, about what I expected. The way you mount this to your monitor is this clip and this mount right here. So what I can actually tell you is that this is kind of your standard camera mount, and it goes on the back of your monitor like this. And most of the time, this little top right up here will be a ball joint that most web cameras will pivot around because the web camera sits on the top of your computer. Now, I will tell you that this is pretty janky. What I want to show you here is it looks like they have just gone ahead and chopped off the top here and then glued with super glue this little cable holder. So I think the camera is just going to clip into these two little C-clips, which look to me like they are 3D printed plastic because they're very rigid, but they are just glued on. And actually, what I have here is a little glue bleeding on the front, right there, as well as a little bleeding glue on the top, as well as that classic discoloration of plastic when you get super glue near it, because it kind of burns it. The fumes or something melt that plastic. And so this, while it looks all right, is certainly not a production piece. It looks like they have bought this top monitor mount just from some supplier and then just glued it on, and that looks pretty janky. I'm going to use this clip because I know that this clip works on my computer. So now that we've taken a look at the construction of this, we've got to test it out and see if it actually works. All right, so I've got the center cam plugged in here. I haven't messed around with any of the settings. I just plugged it in and am using my webcam software here to record some stuff. Now, I will say that the color, the light, is already a little blown out. It is overexposing me. Go in and maybe turn down the brightness. Like, that doesn't really look very good. I'm going to go ahead and just play with the exposure. Try to get that exposure down a little bit. All right, so that is pretty good. I'm just kind of playing around with the settings here, brightness, contrast, just a little bit, trying to dial it in. It doesn't look that bad right now. I'd be curious to see how it looks after it's recorded. You know, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a jittery picture on this end as I'm looking at it. Now, one thing I want to show you here is that up here, okay, no, on this side. Over here, the room looks a little angled, and that is because it is actually really hard to get the camera perfectly in the position I want. If I just move it around here a little bit, because of the way it's weighted and stuff, all right, now I've got it there, but it won't stay there because, you know, the arm is a certain weight and the camera's a certain weight and the cable is kind of pulling on it. So the problem with this is even if you were to really dial it in here, I'm just going to kind of twist it and force it. All right, now it's in place. But if I touch the monitor, or if I touch the monitor over on the top, I mean, what it's doing is it's really shaking that camera a lot. My other big issue with this is because this is round and this is round, what ends up happening is this kind of moves around a little bit, even tiny movements in the monitor and stuff. And so while I've got it facing me right now, there's nothing really bracing it in this direction. And so if I just move things, you know, look at the camera's moving and now it is facing that way. It's probably 10 degrees off of center. What I'd have to do is come up here and move it back to middle facing me like that, but it's kind of precarious. It's not really sturdy. And so that's the problem is, you know, even if I just touch the monitor up at the top here, look at that. I mean, I can move this thing around and then you could be moving it back and forth. And of course, if it's not facing you directly, it's not really that easy to angle it down or up a little. You have to put some pressure on it. You kind of have to put a kink into the wire there. And so it's not really easy to move it around like a normal webcam on the ball joint. I'm not recording, obviously, audio on the camera because this camera doesn't even have a microphone. But one of the things that I like about this is its small size, but it's kind of a lot of pieces. I wish the camera had a built-in mount, and I wish it could slide up and down easier. My monitor here is not going to be the same size as your monitor, and I want to get this camera in the center. And what is actually tough is actually moving this around a little bit. You can see I can kind of move it up and down, and pulling it down is kind of jerky and noisy. And the problem with this is maybe I've got my person here, but maybe I'm going to slide them up during my web conference call, and it's not that easy to just move this around. In fact, it's kind of a pain doing it while I'm not on a conference call. So that's kind of one knock against this. And in fact, when I compare it to this is a Plexicam. This is actually just a piece of plexiglass clear, and you hook it over your monitor, and then you can attach any webcam you want. And in fact, I'm using this Nexigo webcam right there. I really like that because it tends to be very stable, and also I can use any webcam I want. So if I really like something because it has a microphone, it has a ring light, it has the frame rate, it has the resolution that I want, whatever it might be, I actually really like this because I can use this, and then I get all the benefits of being able to tilt the webcam forward, back, turn it left and right a little bit so that I can level things out. And so you get all the benefits of a normal webcam without the drawbacks of this one. And this one is kind of like you're stuck in the ecosystem. You can't upgrade the cameras. It's just one camera. It's just one product. So I can't upgrade to a 4K camera if I wanted to, or downgrade to a 720p camera. I really like the idea because I thought it would be small and it would be perfect to use with a laptop. But after using this, I'm just kind of scratching my head a little bit because it's expensive. While it does work, it does drop that camera down into the middle of the screen, so it helps me look like I'm making eye contact with you. I just feel like this is a better option. I actually feel like just mounting my camera on the standard mounts at the top of the monitor is really a better option because it's going to be more stable. I'm going to get more finite control over it. So the center cam, it does work, and it's not really build quality on the camera that annoyed me, but it's kind of the jankiness of the mount, it's the fiddliness of the way it's designed, and it's really the expensive price point on it. So if you want to pick one up because you think it's great and it's going to do everything you need, or my quibbles aren't going to be your quibbles, I'll put a link to it in the description. But if you want to drop your webcam down so that you can look at people eye to eye, I might suggest checking out this Plexicam. This is the one I've been using here for months, and I really like it. So I'll put a link to that one in the description too. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than